Wine sat across from Jungkook, stirring her coffee as he lazily leaned back in his chair. His black shirt sleeves were rolled up as he flipped through something on his phone. Take it. You look exhausted. It was like any other casual morning in the cafe for them. Wine groaned, resting her head on her hand. Wine, that's because I am. My boss is the worst. He dumped three rappers on me at the last minute. JK, I'll take care of him since you won't quit, no matter how many times I asked you to. Wine, quit? And then what? Freelance as your full time emotional support human? Take it. Sounds like a good deal to me. You won't even have to work. Wine, no thank you. I've no plans of losing my sanity just yet. Take it. I'll pay you double of what you're getting right now. Wine, I demand a bonus every week, a private jet, and three servants. Jungkook shrugged and Wine groaned. Of course he was joking, but knowing Jungkook, it was nothing too hard for him. Wine have him. Before she even knew the worth of his true power, the terrifying danger he grasped in the palm of his hand and absolute command he has over the underworld. Yet, to her, he was her best friend, a person whom she grew up with. Wine, work? She asked as his phone vibrated. Take it. Yeah, I'll be busy tonight. Don't stay late at the office, alright? She nodded and bade him goodbye as both of them left for their work. The office was quiet now, everyone had left. But Wine stayed behind, finishing up a report her boss had suddenly dumped on her. It wasn't unusual. He always pulled things like this, making her stay late when he went home early. A sigh escaped her lips as she finally hit the send. Stretching her arms, she grabbed her bag and checked her phone. Single message from Jungkook. Home? She smiled, typing back. Leaving now. But as she grabbed her coat, she felt a presence and then hands. A cloth pressed over her mouth, a strong grip pinning her arms. Then her words spun, and before she knew, the darkness took over. When Wine woke up, the first thing she felt was the cold. The second was the ache in her wrist, bound behind her back with a rope. Her head pounded as she forced her eyes open. She was in a warehouse. The air smelled of rust and sweat. And then she heard voices, men, standing a few feet away. Her boss leaned against the table, smoking a cigar like this was just another business deal. She's a pretty one, a man said, stepping closer. Speedy eyes raked over her, as if she was nothing but property. Lion, good catch. Boss, told you. She's worth every penny. Why? What's this? Am I getting a raise or what? She knew what was happening. She knew she was being sold. She was not going to give them the pleasure of seeing her vulnerable, no matter how much scared she was. That lame guy laughed and nodded in amusement. Lime, this one will keep my guests entertained. Gotta give it to you. Wine, oh boy, I'll be bringing you to your grave. That will be pretty entertaining for your guests as well, I promise. She spat right on his face. His expressions turned into fury as he slapped her right across her face and pulled her hair. The grip was so strong, Ryan felt her hair might be pulled off her skull like this. Liam, I'll see for how long you keep that. There's no saving you from this hell. There was. She was betting her everything on someone who deserved it. Jungkook. She told him she wasn't home yet. He wouldn't rest without confirming her safety. He had to find her. Her heart believed he will find her. Yet he didn't mean this moment wasn't real, being tied and vulnerable in the middle of men who were wild and free, looking at her like they were going to pounce upon her at any moment. Her heart rate was slowing down and then picking up the pace again, repeating over and over again. Those eyes were full with fury, but her hands tied behind her back trembled in cold, wanting to be engulfed in someone's warmth. Her feet curled, and so the anxiety started to mess up her brain. The screams started echoing around the walls of her brain, those horrifying screams telling her there was no way out. She needed him. She needed his voice to tell her she was safe and to protect her like he always did. She needed him to be there with her and hide her in his embrace. It was not fictitious. It was reality. She knew the extent of her pain, but Jungkook, he was more of a myth. He was everywhere. He is one with the shadows. Everywhere the shadow goes, he reaches. A cold, eerie silence suddenly swept through the place. The men shifted uncomfortably, as if an unspoken warning had settled over them. And then a single voice, deep, controlled, shaky. Who touched her? It was the arrival of the death. Jungkook stepped inside. Suddenly, everything seemed much darker than it was, as if someone turned the brightness down. He didn't carry a gun, nor he had an army of soldiers following him. Yet something about his immense aura told even an idiot that he was not to be messed with. The men didn't speak, couldn't speak. The human traffickers, they obviously knew who ruled the underworld, but having him come personally, looking so pissed, they didn't need a genius to tell them they were dead. JK, time's up. The next second, they knew a man fell to the ground, knife embedded in his throat, blood gushing out. When did Jacob move his arm and threw the knife? It was so fast they didn't get to copy his movement. Chaos erupted. The men scattered, drawing their guns, but it was pointless. Jungkook moved like a phantom, silent, lethal. A man lunged had twisted his arm, breaking it before diving his knee into his ribs. Another swung, a knife. Jungkook caught his arm, snapped it at the elbow. Screams filled the air. The last man tried to run. Jungkook shot him in the knee, sending him crushing to the ground. He turned to Ryan, then, as if finally remembering to breathe, he stepped forward and knelt before her. His soft fingers undid the ropes gently. As soon as she was free, she crashed in his arms, gripping him so tightly, Jungkook knew what to do. He whispered, told her he was there, told her she was safe. He continued his whispers until all the demons in her head were gone. He was there for as long as she needed him. Then he was walking out of the warehouse with his lady in his arms. A flicker of flame lit up between his fingers before he tossed it behind him, and soon enough the whole place was on fire. It was the exact amount of warmth he needed to provide her, to help her cold demons. It was his way of providing her the warmth. She was his. He was the one to own her, and he was never allowing another spirit to roam around her.